With a copious amount of investment ranging from 2 billion won to 5 billion won, which is 1,500,000 to 3,700,000 USD, to debut a girl group, and the number isn't much lower for a boy group. Entertainment agencies are believed to have a strict process to cherry-pick the best of best trainees to become their artists. Ironically, it is also this best of best approach that leads to the forming of acts whose one member always sticks out like a sore thumb, making people believe their act would be better off without them. Number 1. Lily and Mix. Seemingly, JYP Entertainment has really taken the mix element in the group's name NMIX to literally, since from music to fashion and now to the choice of the lineup, netizens always find it hard to understand why on earth they decided to do things the way they did. After the departure of Jennie, discussions about NMIX's harmony started to gain even more attention, and according to many, Lily is too mismatched of a member to stand along with others. Most recently, there is a long thread dedicated to only complaining how Lily has been sticking out like a sore thumb compared to the rest of NMIX, and the very first reason boils down to her visual. Though the K-pop industry is no longer foreign to mixed racial beauty, and up to now, there have also been lots of idols who garner lots of attention, like Shanti from Lapillus or Lisa from Blackpink. Many said Lily's heavy Western visual was too unique to be an idol. When putting her into a group where all members possess a strong South Korean beauty, Lily looked even more out of place. Many in the comments also shared the same viewpoint, saying they totally agreed with the OP as Lily's features, despite being totally gorgeous on their own, looked weird together and also too against the traditional beauty standards of K-pop. Moreover, the fact that she had big round eyes yet always carried a soul-piercing gaze, which is also in total contrast with the elegant and lovely vibe expected of a female idol, also put people off. For having a cool complexion, JYP Entertainment's recent decision to dye Lily's hair blonde pink has considerably softened her visual, helping it better match with South Korean beauty standards. The OP also admitted that she felt like Lily has become less mismatched thanks to this change, but in the long run, it would still be impossible to cover her discrepancy, as she couldn't stick with one hair color forever. The second reason making Lily a noticeable mismatch is said to be her vocal, which is ironically assessed to be among the best in K-pop. According to netizens, it is such a powerful singing capability that makes Lily too different, as the rest of the group opts for a fairly soothing, relaxing, and controlling vocal color, especially on stages where she has to split the efforts to manage both singing and dancing. Her voice sounds even more tense and suffocating. Lily's high notes are even said to sound like screaming, though technically speaking, it's just her comfortable belting all the time. Taking all aspects of Lily's talents into consideration, netizens believe the biggest reason making her unsuited with NMIX is sarcastically her color being too unique and powerful, especially visual-wise and vocal-wise. I myself also agree with people at this point, as whenever looking at NMIX, the first thing I noticed was Lily with her distinct appearance. With a vocal packed with power and a uniquely stunning visual, probably JYP Entertainment should have debuted her as a soloist because 1. She has all it takes to be one, and 2. She's the kind of artist with just a glance everyone can already feel a strong, liberal, highly individualistic vibe of American celebrities. However, I don't think she should leave NMIX to add another gap to the lineup. Instead, JYP Entertainment's debuting her as the very first soloist of NMIX might be a better idea to best increase her reputation. Number 2. Renjin NCT Dream. Being the only fixed subunit in the NCT extended system, NCT Dream's lineup was once thought to be perfectly curated. However, rational assumptions aren't always correct, and according to netizens, SM Entertainment has failed them hard this time. Similar to Lily, the inharmony between Renjin and other members also comes down to critical aspects like visual, singing, dancing, and stage presence. However, some said his case was more severe since besides personal factors, his chemistry with other members was also too off. In 2021, one netizen posted a long thread about how Renjin should have never been a piece of NCT Dream, emphasizing that he had spent a large amount of time observing him before deducting this conclusion. According to this person, if Renjin continued to be in the group, he would forever run on a treadmill when it came to his career because other members had outshone him in all aspects. Singing-wise, Renjin's vocal color is said to be forgettable, and compared to other highly regarded vocalists like Haechan and Channel, there is no way he can overtake. Obviously, that sounds subjective, but considering how Haechan is always chosen as the main vocalist of all subunits he debuts under, and how Channel has already built a solid background in singing pre-debut, thanks to his family's long-lasting history in the Chinese music industry, the chances of Renjin suddenly outperforming them is extremely slim. Dancing-wise, Renjin is also said to have a huge gap from Jisung and Jeno, as his moves lack dynamics, a critical element in pulling off NCT Dream's strong choreography. While fans defended that he was simply dancing with his personal color, which focused more on fluidity and energy rhythm, most believed it just amplified the mismatch since other members' dancing was robust and packed with energy. Even Renjin's visual was assessed to be too vague compared to Jaemin, a member whose handsomeness gained recognition from both fans and the public. The fact that Renjin wasn't into bodybuilding, which made him way more petite compared to the rest of the act, was another point that put off netizens. The OP then continued to talk about Renjin's redundant appearance in NCT Dream when taking his chemistry with other members into consideration. She felt like he had always been an outlier that other members tried to include just for the sake of not getting into detrimental rumors. Backing up this assumption, the OP pointed out that while all members had built their tight-knit bond with a certain member, like the couple Mark Hyuk, Nomin, and Chenji, Renjin was left out with no close friend. Several months after that, another long post discussing the same topic also went viral, and here, the OP talked in depth about Renjin's distant relationship with others. However, Dreamers said they only found such threads hilarious and misleading. Firstly, had it not been for Renjin's visual, NCT Dream would have totally lost the signature SM vibe, since he was the only member whose handsomeness was a perfect mixture of femininity and masculinity. Considering the member's extremely unique vocal color, the soothing voice of Renjin was the critical element tying together everything and making NCT Dream songs harmonious as a group. The most ridiculous point was still the way people forced the outlier image on Renjin, while in fact, the members always treated him with utmost love and care. Especially for the friendship between him and Haechan, fans said people should have stopped duping Haechan's loving actions toward Renjin as fabricated because it was simply their hobby to make fun of each other all the time. Number 3. IN Stray Kids. Despite Stray Kids being a group formed through JYP Entertainment's survival show, the lineup still fails to meet their expectations. According to netizens, IN is too much of a mismatch, or worse, a useless member of Stray Kids since there is nothing special about him. One netizen said that IN was so vague that she didn't even know about his existence until one of her friends, aka a hardcore fan of Stray Kids, mentioned him. In Stray Kids, IN was said to bring nothing to the table because while other members had their own area to shine, for example, Hyunjin with his visual and impressive dancing capability, 3 Racha with his rapping and composing talent, Felix with a gender-fluid beauty and uniquely low voice, Sungmin with a melting vocal shown through his performance in Kingdom, Lino with a rising popularity as Music Core's MC, and Bangchan as an all-rounder leader of the act, IN's met the bare minimum in all aspects. It seems that IN also implicitly acknowledges his vague position in Stray Kids, as even fans, in an attempt to defend him, had admitted that IN seemed to be super insecure about his role. When being asked about what he lacked most, IN also admitted he needed to work harder, especially in his dance skills, to catch up with the act. However, fans believe these allegations were all nonsense. 1. As Bangchan has proven himself a sensible leader, there would be no way he would self-pick IN to the lineup with no good reasons. 2. Considering how JYP Entertainment immediately kicked Woojin out when they found him a real mismatch, the fact that IN was let to debut and kept to stay with Stray Kids for good has already told a lot about his ability. Of course, it's true that IN still had a long way to go compared to other members, yet because he is the maknae and also has a strong determination to improve, fans believe netizens should have given him a pat on the shoulders rather than cyberbullying and non-stop criticizing him. So, do you think these idols are indeed the redundant members of their group, or people were simply blowing things out of proportion and forcing an unreasonably harsh standard on them?